Hello, lovelies. This is 5 Minute Manifesting, and I'm your host, Lovey Brown. Thank you so much for listening. I'm thrilled that you're here today. And I do want to apologize that I have lost my intro music to this podcast. I am working on getting it back, but I don't have it right now, and I am sorry about that. Today I want to talk to you about robotic affirming. I got a question about if robotic affirming works. I think I've done a couple of episodes about this and about my experience with robotic affirming. But yes, I'm just going to say on the front end, robotic affirming does work. And I've done some robotic affirming of my own, and I've had it work for me several times and manifested several things with it. First, I want to say that one thing that it does for me, let's just talk about how to do it. So robotic affirming itself is just saying an affirmation over and over again, kind of mindlessly. So you're not focused exactly on what the affirmation is saying. You're not trying to visualize while you're doing the affirmation necessarily. You're just saying an affirmation over and over again. And it can be any affirmation, just any affirmation that you want, like, I am cherished, I am loved, I'm absolutely certain that my specific person loves me. Whatever affirmation you want to use for whatever you're manifesting. Now, some people do like to use a bunch of different affirmations. I will say for me, I just like to use one or two, and I just repeat that affirmation over and over again. And I usually like to do mine while I'm doing something else. So like while I'm taking a walk or while I'm doing my dishes. I've done it when I went to my wax appointment. I would affirm the whole time. If the wax specialist didn't want to talk to me during my treatment, I would do that. So just any time I had that I could focus on the affirmation. I've even practiced it when I'm just waiting in line at the grocery store. Just sort of any time that's kind of idle, I would just encourage myself to remember, return my thoughts to my affirmation. And I really tried to saturate my mind in my affirmation. And I can tell you that I've manifested some things that way for sure. One thing, there's a couple of things that happened when I was doing it. One is that sometimes when I was manifesting something that felt really big, is that I would almost feel like I would start doing the affirmation and I would reach a point where I felt this sort of embarrassment rise up that I was saying this affirmation, and I would just make a choice in that moment to continue affirming. And there were also times where I just kind of got sick of the affirmation. And sometimes I just give myself a break and I just stop affirming for that thing. Or sometimes I make the decision to continue to affirm. I've done both things. I've manifested both ways. I don't really think it matters. I think you should really practice it yourself and see what works for you. I can say both ways have worked for me. And robotic affirming, I think, is a method. Like I said, it's a method one that has worked for me lots of times. And it's also a method that can be easy, right? Just saying an affirmation over and over again, repeating it and saturating your mind with it is pretty easy. It's a straightforward sort of thing to do. And I also say, when I have robotically affirmed for things, sometimes I feel really far away from that thing and I've still had it manifest. And sometimes it's felt like something I was going to get anyway. I've just had different feelings while I was robotically affirming. And I don't think it matters. I don't think your actual feelings, that's the whole point of robotically affirming. You're not trying to manipulate your feelings into feeling any certain way. You're just saying the affirmation. So the actual instructions are literally just choosing an affirmation, saying it over and over again, and then receiving the manifestation. So that's the beauty of robotic affirming. What can be hard is, sometimes people get bored doing it. I've certainly experienced boredom while I was doing it. And sometimes it can feel just kind of like a grind. You're oh, I'm going to affirm some more. And you have to make a decision for yourself. Like I said, I've done both ways where I've just kept going. I've also taken breaks. And that's really up to you in your moment when you're working through your manifesting process. So I did want to answer that question, and I hope that helped. And thank you so much for listening. And may you manifest exactly what you want.